those are so close, I'm right around it. Two in a row, haha! It's a lot harder to shoot standing than it looks. When you're sitting down, definitely a lot easier. Hey guys, Sure Midget here. So I'm doing a review and a test of this ACOG. It is a 4x32, so the objective, I guess, is 32, I believe, and then it's a 4x magnification. Now, this would be considered widely as an airsoft optic. This is not for firearm use, and in fact, there is literally no brand on here. It looks like it's UTG. So I've owned UTG products before, especially back in the airsoft days, and the box looks exactly like this. It would just say UTG. This doesn't, but I'm pretty sure this is a UTG optic. Now, this is not for serious use, so let me repeat myself. This is not for shit hits the fan. It's not for self-defense. This optic is for a plinker. The gun that I put it on is straight up a plinker. This is like number 7 in line for shit hits the fan. Like, I have maybe 6 other guns that I would pick before I would pick this one. So this is way low on the list, and pretty much in no circumstance would I grab this over any of my others. And it's not because it's a bad gun, it's just a little bit heavy for the size. It's a hefty weapon, and it's really old. It is an old weapon, they don't make anymore, so sourcing parts can be hard. So it's not like a high serious use type gun. And that's why I put an airsoft optic on there. Now, the first optic I had on here was one of the replica Trigicon MROs, and this thing is pretty bad. So it did hold 0. I actually sighted it in for about 200 yards and shot maybe 500 rounds through the gun over the past, 8 months that I've had it on there. The issue was when you turned it on, I had it adjusted for, again, that range, but where it sat on the gun, like if you, anywhere, it actually doesn't matter where it sits on the gun, it's blurry. So if you hold your head, it's called parallax, I think is what they call that. So if you hold your head above, the dot gets blurry, so you couldn't actually fire it and hit what you were shooting at. You have to like hold your head in the center of the window, because at the top of it, the whole top half, the dot gets blurry. So I was, trying to hold my head down, and it's got a kind of a cheek rest on my brace there, and so it was giving me difficulty lining it up properly and not having the dot be blurry. So this actually held 0, so in terms of durability, it's actually pretty decent. But yeah, I kind of wanted something with some magnification and did not want to deal with that parallax issue. So my brother sells these scopes. You can buy them on eBay for about $55, so he price matched me. He sells these on HopUp for like 90 bucks, I think, so he is making a decent margin on them. But you can get them on eBay for 55 bucks. You just have to look. They make 2 or 3 different versions. You do have to be careful looking on eBay because they do sell a couple different versions. Some of them look like the traditional ACOG. This one looks a bit different. I really like the look of this one. The traditional ACOGs don't look good in my opinion, just the way they're shaped. So they make a couple different versions. You just have to pick the right one on not HopUp, but eBay. You can get these for about 55 bucks. This version is 55. So here's what it's on. It is my SIG 5.56 pistol. These guns have not been made since like the early 2000s. I think it was like, it may have been, I want to say like 2008, I think is when they stopped making these, or 2004, something like that. But it may have been during the assault weapons ban in 1994, so it may be like early 90s. I know they made the long barrel version, 16-inch, up until like 2008 or something like that, but I think they stopped making the pistol versions when there was the assault weapon ban, but I could be wrong. It's either late 90s or early 2000s is when these were stopped being made, which is kind of a shame because the SIG type guns, the long stroke gas pistons, are really nice weapons. So as you can see, I have the optic on here. It is sitting pretty far back, and that's for 2 reasons. One, it actually helps balance out the weapon because it is front heavy, and with the optic, it helps kind of center the weight because this doesn't weigh much out here. and also because of the magnification, you have to get your head pretty close to it. So to get a good sight picture, I have to like have my head right here. Now it's only a 5.56, so it's not, I'm not concerned about it hitting me in the head because it doesn't kick much at all. This is a very comfortable gun to shoot. So I will quickly talk about the packaging. It does come in a bag and it's wrapped in like some foam, so plenty of packaging so it doesn't get scratched. It does come with a battery. I think it's a 2032 battery, and that's very common for red dots. Add a couple Allen wrenches to get it off and on, and then a little cloth there to clean. And here's small instruction and manual. I'll just show you real quick. I mean, it says shock recoil, 100% shock recoil, fog proof, and nitrogen filled. Like, obviously the English is not very good on here. It just kind of doesn't make sense what they say. It says reticle is fixed at 100 yards and ranges out to 600 because there's drops. There's a 4 and a 6 logo. So I'm going to be testing it out to probably 300 yards. I don't think I'm going to go any further than that. And I don't have a rangefinder yet, so like it's not going to be a perfect 300 yards. But I'm going to give it a shot. I'm pretty much going to sight it in at like 75. Okay, first shots at the steel target was pretty successful. Sorry, I'm huffing puffing. I just walked all the way down here. So I shot from that hill there at about 75 yards, and this is my result. So the first shot was right, and then I clicked it 2 times, shot there, and then I clicked it like 3, and then bang, bang. Okay, so I was pretty happy with that. I was aiming pretty much here, so maybe 1 click low, but I got it centered. So now I'm gonna spray paint it again. I took the target. We're at about, I don't have a rangefinder yet, but I'm guessing 125 to 150 yards. All right, now we are shooting at an estimated 125 yards with the same ammo. This is PMC X-Tac green tip. M855, which is roughly 2,600 feet per second out of this 10-inch. So those 2 rounds were slightly low. I guess bottom half of the target. So when I was shooting at 75 yards, it was also a hair low. So at this distance, I'm going to actually pull it up a couple of clicks and shoot a couple more. Features, it is a aluminum body, so it's decent quality aluminum. It does have 2 Picatinny's on either side. I don't know why those are there, to be honest. I don't know, you can mount laser on the side, but do not, please do not. Don't put anything on there. You will get made fun of. That is stupid. These 2 hand knobs are pretty nice because you can, tighten it. Now, do yourself a favor. If you actually want this thing to stay zeroed for any amount of time, get a massive flathead screwdriver and tighten these down really hard, and then leave it. Because if you just hand tighten it, it will loosen up with recoil, and then you'll lose your zero and all that nonsense that you don't want. So just take the time, use a big ass flathead, and tighten those up. Other features, I guess you could call it a feature. It's got built-in sights on the top. It reminds me of like the Glock on the top, if the thing will focus on the top. It's kind of weird. And then it's got a tritium, not tritium, I'm sorry. Yeah, that is not tritium. Look, it is, what do they call that? Fiber optic. Yeah, really cheap. I would not count on using these at all. They're just for looks pretty much. But here's a close-up of the optic itself. I mean, pretty decent quality, to be honest. These are the adjustments. I believe they're flathead, yeah. So I have a screwdriver in my ammo box to adjust this today and see how it does. The top here is where the battery goes, and it also has the brightness. It's got red, blue, and green. So blue's my favorite color, so this is one of the reasons why I love this optic so much, because most optics don't do blue. So there is the optic there on blue, and that is the second setting. I don't think it's gonna focus that great, but it's exactly what the picture is in the manual. It's not gonna focus very good at all, but I will try it again without the light, the, what do you call it? Illuminated, and still you can't see it very well at all. It's just so blurry. It's not like that in real life. So it's just a crosshair, and then there's another notch and another notch. It's 400, 600 for a bullet drop compensation. Now, do I think that the bullet drop compensation is going to be accurate? No. It may just be pure luck that it will be. I don't know. Again, I don't plan on shooting out to 600, so I won't be able to test that entirely, but I do plan on shooting 300s. I'm guessing it's about 250 yards. I don't think it's any further than that. So I still should be able to hit it without compensating for drop, is my guess, with where I have it adjusted. You know, an inch or two high at 100. So, okay, so I can see that first shot clear as day through the scope, and it is pretty much dead center. It's kind of like just below the neckline. So that was absolutely a straight on shot. There is no drop by this distance. 5.56 is pretty flat shooting. I mean, that's pretty consistent. So that was that 2 or 3 in a row? I think that was 3. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it where it's at. I think they're not sailing high. The only time I miss is when I'm jerking it to the left. Pretty much, I keep jerking it to the left because of the trigger is not that great. It didn't break, and it works just fine, and you could definitely use it on a plinker firearm. As long as it's a 223, I would not use it on a 5.56. I wouldn't use it on a 308 or anything bigger. So if you want to toss it on your AR or 5.56 AK, SIG 5.56 like this, something that's 5.56, go ahead and do it. Just do not trust it for like the end of the world type thing. Shit hits the fan. It's not that quality of an optic.